All right. Thank you everyone for coming today and welcome to our World Reflexology Foundation Self-Help Workshop today on kidneys and urinary bladder. And it happens that we're actually celebrating World Reflexology Week. This was initiated in 1999 by our Bill Floco, who was then president at ICR president at that time. So yay, thank you, Bill, for initiating this. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce the Board of Directors, the World Reflexology Foundation Board of Directors and volunteer trainers. We have here today Kathy Reynolds, corresponding secretary. And Sarah Shemidas is here, recording secretary. We have Paul Harvey, director. And Bill Floco is here, our president. And I'm Stephanie Sabunchian. I'm your host today. I'm vice president of WRF. Now, a little bit about the foundation, about the World Reflexology Foundation, who we are, what we do, why we do it. We are a nonprofit organization, and we begin with a vision of bringing better health to the world. And we're doing that by teaching self-help, self-care, reflexology to everyone across the world. And as a non-vocational organization, our WRF volunteer trainers teaching basic self-help and self-care reflexology to individuals, to groups, to organizations in many different countries, not just in the US, but really across the world. And it is due to your support. Thank you so much for your generous donations we're continuously receiving, and that helps us keep going. So thank you. Our online workshops have been developed to focus on specific body parts. So each time we're selecting one or maybe two body parts, and we're focused on that body part in the workshop and where to work for this. First, second, and third. Sometimes it's on the feet, sometimes it's on the hands or on the ears, and you will hear more about it later. We do this in a very simplified and but very specific way. And we teach where to work for best results to eliminate pain and discomfort so that the body can eliminate, or it helps the body to eliminate pain and discomfort. All of our WRF trainers, our volunteer trainers, we are all highly trained reflexologists, and we have all a passion to share our knowledge. WRF's mission is very simply bringing better health to the world. That's so dear to our heart. And by participating in our WRF workshops, our hope is that the benefits and the awareness of self-help and self-care reflexology can affect not only you, but also the people around you, your families, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, anyone. And again, the World Reflexology Foundation only focuses on teaching self-help and self-care. We are not vocational. We're not do vocational training. Today, we all encourage you to work on yourself as we demonstrate where to work on the feet, hand, and ears. So our trainers will invite you later on to participate. And in doing so, please be aware not to work on any open sores. That's and don't work over overly tender areas. Sometimes a point or an area might feel a little bit more tender. Please know that lighter touch is also very effective. It does not have to hurt to work. And please take your time. Of course, we will going a little bit faster throughout the demonstration because we have this hour here for our workshop. But later on, when you work on your own, today, tomorrow, next week, please take your time while you're working on your feet, hands, and ears. Also, please remember that the information covered in this workshop is not a substitute for medical care. And please seek medical attention if you are experience any specific medical condition. Just one small, one precaution: if you had a recent kidney transplant, please consult your doctor first. Now, without further ado, I will hand it over to Paul Harvey, who will explain what reflexology is and how it works. Paul.
Well, good day, everyone. Since it's sometime different in the day and even a different day to many of you around the world, it's great that we could all be here together. So let's take a collective, deep cleansing breath in our electric bodies, and we're going to describe what reflexology is. Since we are living in an electric body, we go by that analogy. So the nervous system that travels throughout our body represents the wiring, if you will, of our electrical body, much like the wiring in the walls of the building, house, or apartment that you're living in right now. And so we know that by applying pressure of varying degrees to those areas of the feet, hands, and ears that have been specifically worked out to be connected to certain parts of the body. In the case today would be our kidneys and urinary bladder. By working on those areas, we're essentially stimulating the electrical system. So if your home or your apartment has uh, a light switch with a rheostat where you can turn the electricity way up to make the lights real bright, or you can dim them all the way down for those romantic dinners. So the rheostat is a good representation of what happens when we begin to affect the electrical system by stimulating the points of reflexology that we're going to do later today. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Paul. That was a very nice explanation. And I know many of you already know a little bit about reflexology and have been at our foundation workshops, self-help workshops. However, it's always good to hear it again and maybe in different ways. So Paul is now going over explaining the maps. We have the color maps. And Paul, if I may invite you to go over these so that people can follow along.
Yes, thanks, Stephanie. So uh, we know that many of you in our group today are very advanced reflexologists. Maybe some may be experiencing what reflexology is for the first time. So just a brief explanation of our color maps. You'll notice that there are no words or points beyond what it says reflexology regions of the feet. We're also going to see the hands and the ears. So it's very simple. The key is the figure on the left, and we see that it begins with the figure's head, which is in that lavender color, and that is all represented reflexology-wise by our toes. Big toe to little toe all the way across. So head and neck represented by the toes. Moving down to the upper body or upper torso, we see the blue area, and just simply that's the part of the body that is represented through reflexology on the feet, the upper torso or the upper part of the body. And then we come down to the yellow section, which is the midsection of the body, stomach, etc. So that area that's below the rib cage, and that's represented by that again yellow key color in the feet. Moving farther down to the lower area, the lower part of our torso, the orange represented here in that orange color. So that's anything, any organ, muscle group that's represented in that lower part of the torso. And you see, as we're on this point, running through all that is that white line with the little ladder all the way down, the little lines. So that is representative of our spinal column, which of course runs the full length of the human body's torso. And then that you see represented over on the foot in the inner part from the big toe all the way down to the heel. And you see that representation right there. Further than that, we now have that wonderful green color that reminds me of the Grinch, and that's the arm reflexes. And you see, as important as the arms are, we see that whole area on the opposite side from where the spine was on the foot, the outside edge of the foot, all the way from the little toe all the way down to the heel on both feet. And lastly, but not least, the red section representing our legs and feet. And you see that in a rather small area for the importance of the legs and feet. Again, on the outside region, below the ankle, on both feet, outside region, below the ankle, you see that red area on the chart. So that's as simple as this chart is. And so now we're going to take a look at it from the standpoint of the hands. Basically, you're seeing pretty much the same thing. We have the lavender portion representing the head, the green portion along the sides from the pinky finger all the way down to the wrist, representing the arms, the upper body or upper torso, that beautiful heavenly blue area, and then the midsection of the body, the yellow area, which is very large on the palm surface and also the tops of the hands. So all of this is both sides of the hands, the palms and also the tops of the hands. And then down to that orange section, the lower torso, represented there up just above the wrist section on the tops and bottoms of the hands. And then finally the red section, which is just very, that very small section uh, just above the wrist on the pinky side of the hand. And then connecting all of it in the middle is that spinal column. All right, so now lastly we go to the ears, and here we begin to see some differences. If you turn that body that's on the left side that represent the key body, if we turn that upside down, it would make more sense here, because the ears represent the body in an upside down version, right? So we see that again, that lavender section, the lobe of the ears moving up, and that then is the neck and the head reflexes. Uh, the blue area moving into the ear, into that midsection of the ear, just before the ear canal, and then the yellow, which again is that midsection of the torso, moving on down to the lower part of the body, and then the legs in that nice red color right there in the middle of the upper ear, And then across the outer part of the upper ear, we see that uh, Grinch green for the arms all the way along there. And then again, lastly, we see the representation of the spine moving all the way along from the upper body all the way down to the bottom of the torso. And that's just gives you an idea of what this chart is all about. It's been designed so language should not be a great difficulty. It can be, pointed out through trainings and trainers that how the representation works, like we just did now. And there we have the chart. Thank you, Stephanie. So after this, we're going to talk just briefly about um, the priority reflexing. See, that's priority is a tough word for me. So priority reflexing was actually discovered by Bill Floco some years ago in trading clients, realizing that some issues responded better if we did the hands first, or the feet first, or the ear first, and then sometimes the hands, the feet, or the ears second, and then third. So the priority reflexing is what area of the body responds best to feet or hands or ears, always doing all three, but in the priority sequence. And in this case today, we will be doing feet, hands, and ears. So feet being the priority reflex, hands being the secondary reflex, and the ears being the tertiary in this particular demonstration today. Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing that screen.
Thank you, Paul. That was great. So that gives us a good overview. And for both the kidney reflexes as well as the bladder reflexes, we have this priority and progression reflexing with the feet first, second the hands, and then the ears last. So thank you for explaining that. So wonderful, Paul. Now we're coming to the hands-on part to our demonstration. We're inviting you to work on your feet, hand, and ears while our volunteer trainers demonstrating. And first one is Sarah, and I want to share the screen. You saw an overview, but I want to show you the individual slide too. So here we're starting again, we're starting with the feet for the kidney reflexes and urinary bladder reflexes. So take a moment and look at it, the illustration, where to work on your feet for these two reflexes. Sarah, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to do one thing. First, I'm going to show you my foot, but my pretend foot, and I'm going to show you on this foot where we want to work, starting with the kidney reflex in the just below the ball and pad in the center of the foot, and then the ureters go down to the bladder reflex, which is both on the sole and then goes up over onto the arch of the foot. But before I work on that, I'm going to show you how I get into this position. I'm going to tilt this down just quickly. I'm going to take a pillow, which is always helpful. And I'm going to take my foot and I'm going to place it up on this pillow. And I'm going to work my foot accordingly to the areas, which is the kidney reflex and the bladder reflex and the ureters that connect them. So I wanted to show you how you could comfortably get your foot, if you're able to move your foot into this position. I will show you again, demonstrate on my foot in a minute, but I will show you now on the plastic foot. So beginning at the kidney reflex point. We will work on that. And I do it a couple different ways depending how your body is situated. You could either use an index finger and you could touch the reflex point, move it across, moving the skin and gently working on that tissue. You could use 2 fingers. You could gently move that across. You can also move it up and down and up. You could take a thumb, if you can reach your thumb, and you can gently move it in little circles over that whole reflex point. And I want to explain the importance of the kidney reflexes to work them is they are great detoxifiers, removing waste from our bodies, and they help to balance our body's fluids. So they're really important to really give kind of a all over boost for our bodies, plus the adrenals, which sit on top. So you're kind of getting a bonus if you want to kind of calm your body and remove your waste. So I'm using my fingers moving across, kind of breaking up that tissue gently, up and down. Now we're going to move down the ureter, which goes over onto the bladder reflex. So it's both on the sole of the foot and over to the arch. So again, I'm moving in different directions, nice and slow. You could move up, down, all around, and you don't want to move too fast and you don't want to go too deep. So it's just a nice, gentle pressure. If I feel something tender, I'm going to stop and I'm going to either avoid it or I'm going to gently just work it until that isn't tender anymore. And if it continues to be, I'm not going to work on that area. So again, we've got it all on this and on that. So I'm going to now do it again on my foot so we can work together because I think that's a nice. Now we have 2 feet. Sometimes you can't do both feet. Right now I cannot lift my right foot, so I will demonstrate again on my left. I will pull my foot up. And for the sake of demonstrating to show you, I will suspend it out in the air. So I have to use my 2 index fingers comfortably in this position. So I'm going to find my kidney reflex. And let's all together just gently work that kidney reflex, moving across in the center of the foot, just below the ball and pad. And remember, working the greater area is always a benefit. Getting a little bit of the adrenals at the top. And just gently breathing through and working on the kidney reflex. Now we have 2 feet, we have 2 kidneys. So when you have more time, you're going to want to work both feet. And again, if you can't work one foot like I can't, I would then do I'd work on my hand or my ears. So I'm gently just working that kidney reflex. I'm going to now, because I like to connect the two, I'm just going to go down the center and across, and I'm going to work that bladder reflex. Again, my 2 fingers work really nicely. Cross and up. I can use my thumb here, which is nice, and I'm just gently moving that tissue, that skin, underneath my thumb, if you can see. So I'm just gently working the whole area of that bladder reflex. Now, again, this is just a quick demonstration. At home, you would want to definitely do this longer than this 1 or 2 minutes. I'm even going to just gently move this tissue because it feels nice. So yes, you want to take your time. You want to go nice and slow, starting off light, never needing to go too deep. And you want to just breathe through it and try to get both feet if possible. And that would be the kidney reflex and the bladder reflex on your foot. And again, remember, it's a nice detoxifier. So if you're not feeling 100%, it's really great just to kind of flush those kidneys and that bladder, just reflex points, just to kind of give your body a little extra boost. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a great demonstration and a great explanation. And I hope you were all able to follow along. I know not everyone is so flexible like Sarah is. Sarah, you're really flexible and you make it seem so easy, but really use whatever you feel, however direction you can reach. And you, Sarah showed how to work with either with the thumb or with the fingers. So really great. We have a lot of options here. Now we're coming to the hand reflexes. And that gives us even more options. So take a moment to look at the illustration before Paul will go and explain it and demonstrate it on his own hands.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. So you see it on the screen. You also received a workbook page. So we're going to refer to that workbook page, kind of a blow up of that. So you see the right hand, the palm surface of the right hand, and you have the kidney area right in here with the adrenal sitting on top, coming all the way down to the bladder, the urinary bladder reflex. And so you can refer to this in the materials that you've been sent, just so we can bring everything together. Now you'll notice that there is, I'll pull this back a little bit, the landmarks that we look for between the forefinger and the second finger, a line coming straight down. There's that kidney reflex. And then here is the joint where the thumb joins the hand coming straight across, and there's the kidney reflex. So we have this L-shaped feature that helps to tell us where that is located. And so now we get down to the demonstration. So I want everyone, before we start working on ourselves, everybody just close your eyes for a second, take a couple of nice deep breaths, and we're going to relax together and we're going to work together on our kidney and bladder reflexes. All right, so we have from my demonstrator hand right here, that L feature that we saw. I just demonstrated that L feature that shows us where we are. And this here then is the kidney reflex. We begin to work on that. And I'll be working on my natural hand here in a moment. And then we come down right to the edge of this area below the thumb, but yet above the wrist. So the wrist is another good landmark. So we're above the wrist. And we're working this whole area, not just the flat area on the palm, but also coming over and coming over and coming over and just the radius that's right here. All right, so as we now all have that visualization, we'll just begin to work on the hand. So here we have that kidney reflex again. Everybody working. The nice thing about the hands is that wherever you are, if you're on a bus, in a train, in a plane, probably not when you're driving, unless you're a passenger, but you can work this kidney reflex right in here, and we can work that with the one finger. We can work it with the thumb, just rolling nicely over that area, rolling nicely over this area, and just applying that pressure that doesn't have to be strong, doesn't have to hurt. The light pressure can be just as effective and sometimes more effective than heavy pressure. Okay, so everybody should have that work done on the kidney, and then we move as if we're moving down the ureter, coming down to where we found the urinary bladder. So all in through here, the palm surface, coming around the radius, coming around the radius, coming around the radius. So this whole area, we can do this with our thumb. For me, it's easiest to do with my thumb. Come from the bottom, come from the sides, come from around this way. Using the fingers, you can come from this way. Just working that whole area. Does everyone find themselves becoming a little bit relaxed, taking a little bit deeper breaths as we are working on ourselves and relaxing? All right. And as Sarah was saying, we have two kidneys. So we have that same spot on the left hand. We have just the one bladder, but the urinary bladder, one urinary bladder is in that same spot on the left hand as well. And so you want to work both sides for that balance. And again, as we've said before, if there is any indication of anything unusual or abnormal going on with the kidneys, we do recommend that you see a healthcare professional for that, to be sure that everything is going well for your body. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Paul. That was so relaxing, and thank you for making us breathe. Sometimes we don't realize how important that part is, to breathe. But I do certainly feel relaxed after now the feed and just watching it, and also working a little bit on my hand. So nice, because the hands, you can work your hands anytime, everywhere, as Paul said, not as a driver, but as a passenger you could, or in a meeting. So, and if not everyone can reach their feet, so here you have the hands available. Now, when we're coming to the ears, last but not least, so I show you first the illustration overview where you will find the kidney reflexes and the urinary bladder reflexes on your ears, and then I will guide you through it so that you can find that on your own ears. So take a moment to look at the illustration. All right, so coming to the ears for kidney reflexes and bladder reflexes. I will show it on this plastic ear first, and then I will guide you how to find it on your own ear. So you can already follow along if you would like to. Showing it this way, the easiest way to find your kidney and bladder reflexes on the ear is you might want to start in the lower valley close to the ear canal. Never put your finger in the ear canal, but if you put your index finger close to the ear canal, that's in the lower valley. And then you're moving the finger up over a slight ridge, further up into a very small valley until you can't get any further. It's a very pronounced ridge. You're getting stuck in underneath. And that's exactly where you will find then the kidney reflex. Now the bladder reflex, urinary bladder reflex, for that you will just move your index finger closer to your face. And then on your bladder reflex on your ears. I know it's a very small place, the upper valley here. And since our ears, this is a big plastic ear, but our own ears are so small that when you're up on the kidney reflex and moved your finger closer to the face, and then you flatten out your finger a little bit so that the upper part of the index finger pad is lying in that valley, you can hold both points at the same time. So let's try this out. index finger, I show it on one ear. Eventually, you can do both ears at the same time, but let's start with one ear. Index finger, you could use your middle finger. I prefer my index finger, but it's okay, whatever finger it feels best. Start in the lower valley, feel the edge of the ear canal, and then move your finger up, the tip of your index finger up over that slight ridge into the very small upper valley. And then it's stuck against that narrow ridge, we call that. You can't go any further. Now your tip of the index finger should be on the, or is on the kidney reflex. Now if you move and slide your index finger a little bit closer to the face and flatten it out a little bit. So I know you can't see it exactly what I'm doing in my ear, but I'm using the upper part, the tip and the upper part of the pad of my index finger. And now you can just hold it, and we will hold it together. I will show it on my other ear. So if you want to follow along, do it on both ears. Coming from the lower valley, from the ear canal edge there, over the slight ridge, up into the small upper valley. Slide your index finger a little bit closer to the face. And now you can hold both ears at the same time. Now, I want you to drop your shoulders. Maybe you have a table in front of you. You can put the elbows on the table. You can even put your chin in your hands, in your palms. And we'll all take a nice deep breath. And exhale, equally important. And just holding. The ears, we're not working them most of the time. 90% of ear reflexology is holding. So let's do that for a moment. Keep breathing, keep relaxing your shoulders. If you don't have a table in front of you, you can have a big pillow on your belly and rest your elbows on the pillow. Important is really that you relax your shoulders so that your neck is nice and smooth and relaxed. In ear reflexology, we're very patient. It's holding. And you may think, oh, it's not doing anything, but yes, it does. Just notice. Notice your breathing. And maybe notice something under the tip of your finger. Maybe you notice a little pulse under the tip of your index finger. Maybe you even notice a little tingling underneath your index finger or middle finger, whichever finger you're using. Remember what Paul said, we are electrical beings. You can feel that in the ears. You can also, not moving your finger, but you can do a tiny little circle. Maybe you can see that I'm just rotating my index finger a little bit, and then I'm holding it again. Now, in a real session, you would hold it, of course, much, much longer. You can hold it 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There's no limit if it feels good, just keep holding. So take a nice last deep breath before we're getting out, very slowly out of the ear. And maybe you're feeling as relaxed as I do right now. So these were the demonstrations of the feet, where to work for the kidney reflexes on the feet, on the hands, and on the ears. And again, this was a demonstration today, so please hold the points or work the points much longer when you work today or tomorrow or next week or anytime you work. And of course, you can work multiple times a day. There is really no limit as long as it feels good. Before we're coming to the Q&A, I want to mention that you probably all know of the importance of drinking water. So I wanted to reinforce this here at this point after we already worked quite a bit on our own feet, hand, and ears. Hydration is important after any body work. So of course, after reflexology too. So an extra glass of water, people might feel more refreshed after reflexology. And reinforcing also again that all the information we're covering in this workshop is not a substitute for medical care. So if there is anything you're concerned of or you have questions, first of all, you can always get in touch with the person who invited you. Or you consult your medical doctor, or you get medical attention if there's anything you feel with any medical condition. Tomorrow, you will receive a feedback form from our Google account. It's in forms, and it's a survey from our WRF, which is really important for us, because then we can improve the workshops. We can find out how it maybe helped you. Maybe you're working on your reflexes this afternoon a little bit more. So let us know. Watch out for your email. If you don't receive anything by tomorrow afternoon, please look in your spam folder. That happens sometimes. And if you have not yet, if you have been invited by one of our trainers or ambassador, World Reflexology Foundation ambassadors, if you have not signed up for our newsletter, you might want to do that on the website. And I will share the information real quick. If it comes up, there you go. So here's our website, www.worldreflexologyfoundation.org. So on that, you will find a sign up form for our newsletters. And it's not just a newsletter, it's also the announcements, of course, for further workshops we have lined up. Now we have Kathy will do a brief review because we went fairly fast over it. And Kathy will now share very briefly and show you the reflex locations again. So Kathy, if you will show everyone again where to work on the feet, hand, and ears.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. I hope you were able to work along with the demonstrations. So Sarah showed us where to work on the feet for the kidney reflexes and the urinary bladder reflexes. And she showed us this ball and pad area between the second and third toes. If you follow it down to this soft sole. And she showed us different different ways to work it, depending on how you're holding your foot. She is very flexible and was able to put it up on her knee, but however it's easy for you works. And you can go in different directions. She showed us that the ureter reflexes follow down to the urinary bladder reflexes, which you find just above just at the heel line where the ankle is. It's on the soft sole and over on the inner edge. And it's an area about that big, and you can work it any way that you're able to get there. Not a lot of pressure is needed, and you're just relaxing everything so that everything can work optimally. So you've got the kidney reflex, ureter reflexes down to the bladder reflex. Make sure and work on the inner edge also. Okay, let's see. Paul showed us how to work on the hands, which are very similar to the feet. He showed us that if you go between the second and third fingers and you follow it down, sort of an L, right there, you will find the kidney reflexes. And again, however it's easiest for you to work it. Again, the ureter reflexes lead us down to the bladder reflex, urinary bladder reflex, which you will find down here above the wrist on the palm side of the hand and also at the inner edge. So you're working this entire area. However, if you're holding your hand on your lap, you can use your thumb, just working this entire area for urinary bladder and kidney reflexes. All right, the ears are completely different, as we found out from Stephanie. So quickly, she said to use your index finger. We're gonna get close to the ear canal. We're gonna use the pad of our index finger, and we're gonna find that ear canal, move back and up over that slight ridge, up to this prominent ridge where we can't go any further. If we flatten out, that's where we find our kidney reflexes. And if we flatten out the index finger, where we're using more of the pad of the finger, and then go closer to the face. So we've got kidney reflexes here, move a little closer to the face and flatten out the index finger. And you're affecting the urinary bladder reflexes and the kidney reflexes at the same time. And what that looks like when we do it on our own ears, if you follow along, we find the ear canal, we move back, we go up over the slight ridge to this prominent ridge where we can't go any further. That's where you'll find the kidney reflexes. And then if you flatten out your index finger, move closer to the face, and then that's where the urinary bladder reflexes are. And you can flatten out your finger and be holding both of those at the same time. And you can work both ears at the same time. And just hold and breathe. And it's super relaxing. So this is just a quick review, and we really appreciate you all for being here. It means a lot to us. So thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Kathy. That was awesome. And it's so nice to have a reinforcement to really find the different reflex locations.
Well, I'd love to share a story.
There you go. Bill, go ahead. I love your stories. We love your stories.
I was teaching a class in Hawaii, and there was a lady in her mid-30s who had a heart attack and was having to get up quite a few times every night to take care of nature, to urinate. There's also a gentleman about 65 in class who had to get up frequently. So we're on the feet, where Sarah showed the bladder reflex. I actually drew on their feet and showed them exactly where the bladder reflex is. And then I suggested something. I said every hour that they were awake between the time I showed them and the next morning, let's have a good night's sleep, but every hour that they were awake, to work on the bladder reflex for about 5 minutes on the feet. The next day, they both came back reporting that they only had to get up once that night. Now, I'm 82 years old, and I have to get up. Sometimes I have to get up more frequently. And once in a while, I actually remember that I know reflexology. I work on this area for about 5 minutes, 3 or 4 times. And lo and behold, I'll get a good night's sleep. I mainly only have to get up once. So it's not to talk about myself, but it's to show the story that how powerful the one that Paul talked about, where would it go? Priority and progression, reflexing, all three are valuable. With the feet, if you can reach them, very powerful for bladder relief. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you, Bill. We love your stories, and it's so nice to actually hear real life stories.
But for now, the rest of my life, I'm devoting to self-help reflexology and spreading reflexology across the world for self-help. And this is how you can help. You can, I think some of you know this, but for those of you who don't know, if you go to our website, worldreflexologyfoundation.org, you'll notice on the menu bar information about upcoming workshops like this one. We also notice videos, because we're doing videos of these. It's taking us a while to get them up there, but we have about 5 of them up now. And then we also do articles on each workshop. So there are about 11 articles right now, all of them on self-help. And the pandemic has helped us shift in that direction. And so if you can spread the word, either through getting people to give donations, because it costs us a bunch of money to do with these projects we're working on and other things we haven't told you about yet. But also this self-help of the workshops, the videos, and the audio. So you can share these. You can go back 10, 15, 20 times and look at them. You get a group of people together in your office or in your home and look at them. So we're trying to get self-help reflexology across the world. Be our ambassadors. We love you. And of course, thank you, Stephanie, for putting this up, this new
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. And you were talking about donations, so any donations help, and there are different ways you can donate. So we have the website down here again, worldreflexologyfoundation.org. And when you go there, you can go right away to the donation page, but you can also take a look around, as Bill said, the videos, the articles, and come more often, because we will keep putting videos up there on our YouTube channel, but also on our website. So this is helping us a lot. As always, it's so nice to see everyone, to reconnect. And I love your passion in supporting us, but your passion for reflexology, self-help, self-care, reflexology. So thank you so much for being here today.